welcome Thunder Airmen to our first very first live 125th Fighter Wing Facebook Live virtual town hall. So Chief and I are going to kick this off by just providing you with a few highlights of what the Thunder, the wing, is doing right now in relation to our COVID-19 response. We both have our notes in front of us. Many of you guys have submitted questions already, so we're going to attempt to answer all of those. I'll give you an ROE as we go as well with how we'll continue. You may hear the thunder, the sound of freedom in the background as our aircraft are taking off for their morning missions as well right now. So currently a lot going on in the organization. I just want to frame it up with what our Secretary of Defense, Secretary Mark Esper, said recently. He said, we're engaged in one of the greatest global challenges of our time. And he reminded us that together we are doing what the Department of Defense has done throughout its entire history, which is adapting, innovating, and demonstrating why the American people call on the United States military during the most trying times. And indeed, this is one of the most trying times, especially for us and our airmen and our families, which Chief Souza and I recognize this is difficult and trying times for you, which is why we want to be here and be accessible to you to answer some questions. So let me give you the ROE as far as how to ask questions. So please type in your questions on the Facebook page. We have our team in the back who is going to compile these. I'm going to give a opening scenario of the priorities that we're working through. Chief Souza is going to talk, and then we're going to answer some questions that were pre-submitted earlier this week. Once we finished answering the pre-submitted questions, then we're going to go on to the questions that are uploaded on the Facebook page. So please keep those coming as we talk. We'll try to compile all of those as we go. If your question gets unanswered today, or if we don't have an answer for it, we are going to look to provide an answer. So what we're going to do, we're going to post this Facebook Live back to the web page so that you can direct folks to come watch it. And then we're also going to look to provide a summary transcript of the questions and the answers as we go along. Okay, so that being said, let me hit with what the three priorities that we are tracking on right now and what really is shaping our entire response to the COVID-19 crisis. So our first and foremost priority is to protect our force. That's protecting you, our airmen. So let me talk through some ways that we are doing that. And that's primarily, we can think of that through a health protection condition of posture that we have. So currently the wing is in health protection condition Charlie, which means that we know that there is the spread of the disease within the community. Up to this point, we do not have any indications that it's made it within our fence line, but all the indications are that it could shortly hit some of our actual airmen and 125th Fighter Wing population in the not too distant future. So the number one ways that we are doing that is we are adhering to a DoD travel ban and curtailing all official government travel to only those things that are mission essential. We're also maximizing here on our units, teleworking throughout the entire wing whenever possible, and limiting folks that are on the base to those that are mission essential only. We've even changed up our mission essential only, our actual operating, to where we have, particularly for our ops and our maintenance communities, as we continue to do our mission, that we are on alternating weeks of one team comes in one week and an alternate team comes in the other week. That way we're not cross-pollinating between the two different crowds. Okay, so that's one major way that we are doing that. Another way that we're doing it here at the installation at Jackson International Airport, we are medically screening everyone that comes in through the front gate. So we're asking some standard protocol questions that the CDC has put out for us, and we're also doing temperature screenings so that we can ensure that those coming into our base don't show any outward symptoms of the disease. All right. Our second priority is to defend our nation and our state, and that's primarily through two avenues for us in the 125th Fighter Wing. Number one, that's making sure that we're maintaining our aerospace control alert mission, and that we're also maintaining combat readiness to the max extent possible throughout our remaining units. So you may have heard of Camp Thunder. That is just how we've postured our alert forces so that they can continue to assure that we are maintaining mission on our 24/7, 365 alert mission. So we've gotten a lot of collaboration from higher headquarters. That's both Air Forces North, which is 1st Air Forces, Air Combat Command, and National Guard Bureau have all increased the amount of resources that we have to be able to perform that mission. We've created a sequester team that we're calling Camp Thunder at our alert site so that they can be sure to they're sequestered and that they're healthy and that they're able to maintain the mission. And they're also following the appropriate protocols within there while keeping teams and shifts to the minimum manning as possible. We have a services team, 125th Fighter Wing services team, that's providing food for them. The wing, the host wing where our alert site is located at, is providing a sequestered lodging for our facilities, and we're keeping them separated from the population as much as possible. We're looking at making sure that that is a long-term, enduring mission that we can do by starting to set up some follow-on rotations. Our 114th Space Control Squadron continues to train for its space superiority mission. We have some airmen that are currently doing follow-on mission qualification training. Our 290th Joint Communication Support Squadron, we have members that are deployed downrange as we speak, and we also have members that are on Title 10 active duty orders that are ready for a quick reaction force, ready to go out no notice out the door. Our 202nd Red Horse is still continuing their preparations for deployment later this year. We're still working through all the nuances associated with that, but that deployment still looks like it's continuing on track. As you can imagine, with that deployment and the orders not quite set for that, there's a lot of things that we're having to work through, a lot of unanswered questions that we're working closely with higher headquarters on how the preparation goes for that. Our medical units have been actively engaged. And as a matter of fact, our medical unit and our MedDet 1 were the first of our Thunder forces that were put into state active duty to help respond to this crisis. And our medical unit here at Jax International are actually working as we speak right now to help process many of our members that are coming on to the state mission as it prepares. Our base operations support and integration airmen around the mission support group and the Fighter Wing headquarters staff, they're working to provide platforms for us to communicate, for us to sustain the base, for us to continue the operation, as well as teleworking. So everyone has tough and demanding jobs, and you guys are doing phenomenal work. All right, so priority one, protect our force. Priority two is defending our nation's state so that we're here as still a military force. And our priority three is supporting the whole of government approach to protecting and supporting our citizens. So think about that as us linking up arms with the whole of government throughout our state and our nation to be able to respond to this crisis. So we're supporting our ATAG, Brigadier General Valle, and our Adjutant General, General Eifert, by offering up members from our wing for missions that are assigned from the state through the governor. We have already established an air expeditionary group that is under the Joint Task Force Florida, which is under the governor's control and the TAG's control. The AEG, or the Air Expeditionary Group, is already being led right now by Colonel George Downs, and they are starting to build a robust staff to be able to respond to this crisis and to be able to bring in 125th Fighter Wing Airmen that are going to go on those state missions. Our weather flight, our 159th Weather Flight, are providing not only weather analysis but data analysis to help model as this fight continues. We also have intel airmen that are helping provide that analysis. And as I mentioned before, our medical units continue to support planning efforts as well as actual missions in the field. So our first mission that we started doing was helping with a community-based testing site down in Broward County to help us get a good evaluation on where this disease is spreading within our state. And the biggest thing going on now, we'll get to it in one of the questions, is our entire fighter wing is preparing for a large force call up of our wing to support what's going to be the mobile testing sites. So Thunder, you're engaged, we're engaged, your leadership team is actively involved in trying to come up with best decisions for our whole wing to hit all these 3 priorities. Okay. Chief, I want to turn it over to you to provide some guidance on some current programs that are ongoing to help you out.
Thank you, Colonel French. Good morning, Thunder. As we look, these are troubled times, and for us as the 125th Fighter Wing, and for the state itself and our country and the world, we need to keep focus on where we need to go and where we need to be at all times. So as we fight through this coronavirus and we move forward, supporting our state and supporting our nation, we need to be ready. And we need to keep our readiness at the pinnacle at all times as we move forward. So as we look of what's happened over the last probably 2.5, 3 weeks, DOD has had a stop travel movement. So stop travel movement actually applies to the AGRs and anyone that's on orders. Mostly, as Colonel French talked about, is directed towards mission movements, and they've been looking at everything point direct on what was going on and whether if we needed to move or not, with the safety of you as being the focus. So within the state, Governor DeSantis just put out the stay-at-home order that's just for essential activities. So as 12:01 last night, or this morning, this was a stay-at-home order that we need to make sure that we're staying in place, making sure we stay away from everyone and stay our 6-foot distance. So please follow that, essential activities only. And this is all about finding the mission essential, humanitarian needs that you need to take care of, and under extreme hardships should be the only time that you actually travel and move. So please abide by that. It's all about your safety. It's all about your security to the end game. So moving on to kind of personnel issues, BMT is a question that's always out there. So our FDO office with Senior Master Sergeant Watchhorn and our commander of FSS, Lieutenant Colonel Boswell, is taking care of this pretty well. So what Sean has told me is work through your UDMs or UTMs and figure out if the